Pottery is something that has existed in cultures all over the world for hundreds of years. Starting out as being a form of income and a necessity for daily use in regions such as Appalachia, the art has more recently turned into an expression of hobby and enjoyment. While studying pottery in Appalachia, it's important to know the history of the art, the technique of the art, and the reward and joy of the art. First, to address the history of pottery, John A. Burrison in his book Brothers in Clay spoke of how pottery in Georgia was the most strictly professional type of folk art. This means that pottery was made not for personal use, but rather to sell. Potters were very scarce in the region during the colonial period. However, the demand and need for the ceramics made by these potters was very high. Pottery was used for everything, from cooking to eating to storing things. However, as the years passed and glassware and imported goods became more available and affordable, the art of pottery for necessity began to decline. And today, pottery exists most as a pastime and a business for decoration use rather than essential items.
First part of making a vessel is making sure it's homogeneous, that is, all the particles are together. I think the Appalachian people, I'm pretty sure of it, they used to, I guess they still do, actually dig their clay out of the earth. Now I buy mine, it comes in 50-pound boxes, but the Appalachian people here would literally go to much like the Jewish people, they would go to a place and dig the clay out of the earth. And then what I've got to do is give it some height. The potter will decide, I'm thinking now of what I want to make. The clay doesn't get a choice, does it? The potter decides. I'll try to make a apple baker. Try to give it some height. Something like that. It's got a long way to go. What I'll do is I'll dry it for a week. And I'll come back, put it back on the wheel, and I'll take a lot of excess off. It's still pretty thick. This is an old Duncan electric kiln. And they have, of course, gas kilns, and the folk people would use a homemade kiln made out of brick. They would actually use, timbers and things to fire it up. This here's an electric. It has shelves. So when this is closed, after I know about what time it come out, about 5.5 hours. I would literally look through the peephole, because it's ablaze inside. It's red. It's hot.
Yeah.
But that kiln sill would begin to fall. And when it falls all the way over, I know it's done. And the whole firing process probably 6.5 hours.
And what temperatures did you say it reaches?
2300 degrees Fahrenheit. The clay literally becomes glass.
The art of doing ceramics and being able to put talents on figurines and things like that, art talents, is really rewarding because you never know how they're going to turn out.
Right.
And people, always enjoy those because they're something that they feel like it's really a gift. It's very rewarding. And a lot of people today do not know how rewarding, because there's no place for anybody to really give them the groundwork. Now, really, like with, they have some of these shops where you can go in, they're very few where they have the items that you can go into their shop there and paint them, and but those are already, the fired things. So a lot of the young people are just missing out on some things that are just very rewarding, because they're all connected with what you get from the earth to build. My joy of learning about pottery and ceramics has been truly rewarded. I have made items for my home and gifts. Most of all, I've had the enjoyment of teaching my granddaughter, now 20 years old.
The art of pottery has changed throughout the centuries. It was first a source of income and need for Appalachian families. Nowadays, though, pottery is seen more as a hobby, creating decorative pieces for oneself and friends and family. Like Mr. Lisenby and Mrs. Payne, some Appalachian residents have studios within their own homes that allow for the art to be preserved. However, for those of us who don't have studios within our homes, ceramic craft stores exist where you can go and paint pre-molded pottery and have it fired within that art studio for you to return and pick up. Though the need for pottery in daily use is hardly in existence anymore, the joy of carrying on Appalachian tradition and craft makes learning about pottery worth the while.